International news, the Palestinian militant movement Hamas has released 4 female Israeli soldiers in exchange for a group of Palestinian prisoners under a ceasefire agreement aimed at ending the 15-month-old war in Gaza. Unlike the previous exchange last week, this time Hamas had arranged for a podium. Hostages stood there and waved, later handed over to the Red Cross members who have now left the Palestine Square, the point where exchange happened in Gaza. In exchange for the second release of the captives on Saturday, Israel is expected to release 200 Palestinians that are held in jail. I'm joined by Middle East analyst and Israeli citizen spokespersons Daniel Rubenstein. Daniel, tell us, how significant is this exchange and the fact that, 4 women women soldiers have now come back?
Yeah, so all the people of Israel today are watching their television sets as they watch the Hamas terrorist army finally release these 4 women who they have been holding for more than 15 months without a single visit from the Red Cross. They've been suffering Hamas captivity. We're very happy that they are now home. We're also aware of the very high price that we are paying for this. We are paying a ransom to receive our citizens from the terrorist army that is still governing the Gaza Strip next door. Israel will be releasing huge numbers of convicted Palestinian terrorists from its prisons in exchange, not just for these 4 women, but for the remaining hostages that are still in captivity that Hamas is still holding as we speak. Right now, Hamas is holding 90 Israelis as hostages. They've been holding them since the October 7th massacre 15 months ago. We want to see all of them home.
Daniel, seems like Hamas had made quite a spectacle today during the release. It was a public gathering, a podium was put. Can you tell us why was this kind of a public spectacle made today?
Hamas is a political movement. It is also the government of the Gaza Strip. And as a political movement, as the government, it wants to be popular. And it knows that broadcasting these images are going to make it more popular among its constituents in Gaza or in the West Bank or even around the world. Hamas enjoys a disturbingly high degree of popularity. I wish it wasn't so. I wish the entire world would understand that when a jihadist group is governing a territory, that it's a danger not just to the immediate neighbors, but to the whole world. And Hamas wants to show that after 15 months of war against Israel, that it is still alive, that it is still the government. And if you want something from Gaza, you have to go through Hamas.
Also, interestingly, we are looking at these pictures. There are a large number of people gathered in the square. Would you say that these people are all supporters of Hamas?
It's difficult to say. My initial reaction is that, yes, these people who do gather are supporters. I would even guess that the people who are gathering are close family members of the Hamas terrorists who are running this demonstration. But what we're getting from Gaza, these images that we're getting from Hamas are really from Al Jazeera, who has been given exclusive access to broadcasts from this square. Al Jazeera is funded by the Qatari royal family, which is also a Hamas supporter. So it's very difficult to get an accurate picture of who feels what about the Hamas terrorist army that governs Gaza. But it's probably safe to say that the people coming to the rally are close relatives or friends of the terrorists who are hiding their identities.
So what are you trying to say is no other international agency is allowed to film these scenes that had happened, were not allowed to film these scenes that happened early this morning?
Yes, well, since the beginning of the October 7th war, Israel has not allowed international journalists to enter Gaza because there's a war going on and troops are maneuvering and journalists can use their positions to report on troop movements. Now, at the moment, Hamas has not invited anyone else. They don't want anyone else to film their spectacle because they want the images that they provide to be the exclusive images that people see around the world. And that's what they got by providing exclusive access to Al Jazeera. It's not just this rally where they provide exclusive access to Al Jazeera. They just released footage of their late leader, Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind of the October 7th massacre. Exclusive footage of him moving around Gaza during the war was given to Al Jazeera. So Al Jazeera is quite close with the Hamas government, and that's why the images that you're seeing are exclusively from Al Jazeera.
Well, Daniel, you're saying that 200 prisoners will also be released in exchange of releasing these women. But what about the northern province? It seems that the Israeli forces are also expected to withdraw from Netzarim corridor. Are people going to get back home? Then the Palestinians who were replaced, will they return to North Gaza?
Yes, as part of this hostage ransom payment that Israel has agreed to pay to Hamas, part of the deal is not just that Israel releases many Palestinian terrorists from its prisons, but that Israel will also withdraw from significant areas in the Gaza Strip. You mentioned the Netzarim corridor. So the deal says that the Palestinians who lived in northern Gaza, who evacuated that area because of the war, they will be permitted to return. This is about 1 million of them. They will be permitted to return to northern Gaza, and they will not be checked to see if they are bringing weapons. So in addition to civilians returning, there's also a high likelihood that Hamas terrorists will return to northern Gaza. The other question is about vehicles returning from southern Gaza to northern Gaza. There is a complicated system for inspecting vehicles that will be done by a third-party committee. It remains to be seen how that will prevent this kind of terrorist army from regrouping in areas that are very close to Israeli homes.
Interesting. We'll have to closely track what is happening now during this time of ceasefire. Thank you very much, Daniel, for joining us on the broadcast.